Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and I'm a psychologist specialized in emotional binge eating, and today I want to discuss a very particular type of binge eating, which is nighttime binge eating. I think we have all experienced that on some days we just eat more at night, but if this is an occurrence that happens 3, 4 or more times per week, and specifically at night, so meaning throughout the day you're doing really well, you're eating all your foods, but at night something happens, we need to address the reasons why you might be binge eating in the evening that maybe you are not really aware of. So let's start with the obvious things, and that is that in the evening, once we come home, we don't have accountability. So for most people, we want to put an appearance in front of others. So if we go to work, or if we are meeting up with people throughout the day, we have a tendency to eat quote-unquote clean or healthy foods, and that's something that is acceptable, something that is expected as well from our society. So even though you may be eating throughout the day, you're not eating the foods that you like, you're not eating foods that are satisfying, like meaning that they have taste, so you are waiting for the evening when there will be no one around, no accountability, no one to show off that you're a healthy eater, and you will just go for your favorite meal, something that you actually have been craving and that you wanted to eat throughout the day but you were not able to. So when the evening comes, this is your time, this is your moment, and you are just in that moment trying to eat as much of that food as possible, because you know that the next day you're going to have to go back to that mode of I'm a healthy eater, I'm a clean eater, I'm on a diet, something that people expect from us. Number 2, this is your habit. So for many people, habits have been created, from childhood. So a lot of you have a habit of eating while cooking in the evening, or eating, from the fridge, from the pantry, snacking and grazing. And then you're like, what have I been doing for the last 30 minutes? I've been eating nonstop, and you don't even have a sense of what is going on. You just see the wraps, and that it became a habit to do that. Same goes with eating in front of the TV, or while scrolling on your phone or watching something on your computer. That moment when you are not engaged in your hunger and satiety cues, because you're engaged what it's in front of you, like the screen, you have a tendency to eat more. And that usually happens in the evening, because that's when you have the relaxation time, the chill time, the I want to satisfy some of my guilty pleasures time. And before you know it, you will eat way more without actually even engaging in the food, because your mind was fixated on what's happening in front of the screen. Besides these two, restrictions throughout the day always lead to binge eating. So that's number 3. If you are hardcore dieting, fasting, having coffee for breakfast, having coffee for lunch, or a very light meal, and you're like saving your calories for the evening, you can be sure that at some point you will want to eat a huge amount of food in the evening, because 1, you're hungry, so you're physically missing the calories, but also because you're counting that, okay, so I haven't eaten a lot throughout the day, so I can eat way more now. And that feeling gives you this idea that it's okay to eat a little bit more. The problem is when you start eating a little bit more, you cannot stop. You cannot stop because your mind is telling you, oh, you're going overboard, you were so good throughout the day. And then your thinking is, okay, I will try again tomorrow, but tonight I'm going to fulfill my cravings, and I'm going to call this like a cheat meal, or a cheat evening, or a cheat day, or half a cheat day, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to eat whatever I want, enjoy it, and then I can start again tomorrow with my restrictions. Another reason why you might be binge eating in the evening is because of emotional reasons. So that's very common, that throughout the day we are so busy, and we just think about different things, work, and we have duties to do, obligations, and your mind is not fixated on problems necessarily, or things that are bothering you. When the night comes, when you are alone with your thoughts and alone with your emotions, things can become overwhelming. So I'm not talking here only about being alone or being lonely. It's just everything that you are suppressing and pushing on the side throughout the day comes back with a vengeance in the evening when you don't have distractions. And that's why you use food to distract and to cope because the feeling of I have to deal with my feelings, or I have to challenge my thoughts, or I have to deal with my problems, it's just sometimes too overwhelming. So you need to find a way to distract yourself. And some people will drink, and some people will watch mindlessly TV, and some people will eat. And the reason why some people eat is because eating gives them a high, a boost that they can use in the moment to feel better about themselves, because otherwise they would have to, be in a bad mood, thinking about their problems, which is not something that a lot of people want to do in the evening and go to bed in those same states of mind. Another reason why you might be binging in the evening, and I think this is very important, is because your meals, besides restricting yourself, even when you're eating, those meals are not satisfying enough. So you can eat a lot of calories throughout the day, and of course chances are that you will binge at evening, they're not so big. However, if you're eating foods that you're supposed to be eating instead of food that you actually want to eat, and pushing away those cravings throughout the day, you will have the need still for those foods in the evening. Just because you have decided throughout the day that I'm gonna be good, I'm not gonna eat processed foods, I'm gonna eat clean, it doesn't mean that still in the back of your mind you don't want these foods. So when your barriers are down, when triggers come up, when you're all alone, when there is no one to look at what you're eating or how much you're eating, you will go for this food that you actually want to eat. So if nighttime binging is a problem for you, I think you can start by first of all assessing what are you doing throughout the day. That's step number one. What are you eating and how are you fueling your body throughout the day? Are you really having coffee for breakfast, which is not a problem if that's what you enjoy, but if it's something that you're pushing on yourself, it might be a problem. Are you having plain low calorie, low fat, low nothing, like salads, and then saving your calories? Are you restricting on purpose? Are you cutting food groups? This is the first thing to look at, because nighttime binging doesn't mean that you lack motivation or willpower. It just means you're not fueling yourself enough throughout the day. Once you have resolved that part, the second one is your triggers and your emotions. So that's a more complicated task to do, but it is important for you to understand if you're not hungry, so if you have been fueling yourself properly throughout the day and you still want to binge, the reason is more emotional. It means that on some level, you are not solving your problems, and now it's the time to uncover what are those problems, what are those emotions, what are those unmet needs, and you're trying to use food to cope. If you get to the bottom of these two, you can be sure that your urges to binge in the evening will lessen, or they will completely disappear, because on the one hand, you are fueled properly, and on the other hand, you have the understanding that food is not going to solve any problem unless it's hunger. If you're not hungry, then food is not the solution. I hope this was helpful.